According to my background, my home office is a complete mess. According to my background, my home office is a complete mess. Okay, we're live, Commissioner.
Good evening. This is the January meeting of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. My name is Jim Cloutier. All members are present on Zoom tonight, and it has nothing to do with the 18 inches of snow we got. Our agenda is brief this evening, so we approached it in that way. So if we were in the Feeney room at the courthouse, we would all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll dispense with that tonight. And proceed right to our agenda. And the first item on our agenda is review and approval of or alteration and approval of the minutes of our last meeting, which was on December 11th, 2023.
Move passage.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jameson, seconded by Commissioner Gordon for passage. Is there any discussion or proposed amendments, anything like that? Seeing none. When we're on Zoom, we go through a roll call for each vote. So I'll ask our administrative expert, Ms. Calhoun, to do that first.
Chair Cloutier?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Matonis?
Yes.
And it passes unanimously. The first item of our agenda beyond that is 24001, part of the only item tonight on our consent agenda, which is a proposal to reappoint Mr. Sam Surprise to the Cross Insurance Arena Board of Trustees for a final term of 3 years commencing this year. So do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
So moved by Commissioner Matonis and seconded by Commissioner Gordon. Any discussion? Again, Catherine, would you call the roll, please?
Chair Cloutier?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
And Commissioner Matonis?
Yes.
We have no ARPA business this evening. And I would ask now first Mr. Kennedy, who is our monitor of all things Zoom. Have we received any comments from the public to date?
Done by email, and there's nobody in the attendee list.
Okay. So let's proceed to new business. 24002 is a proposal to authorize a dedication of a new victim witness waiting room at the Cumberland County Courthouse to Lois Gallagher Rickett. And I thought I saw District Attorney here. I'll ask first, Mr. Gailey, if you have any presentation to be made by county management, and I imagine that Attorney Satoris would like to address this matter as well.
I do not have a comment. I will weigh in that I'm in agreement with this item, and I will yield the floor to the district attorney.
And do you have comments for us tonight, Attorney Satoris?
So much. Thank you for the invitation and to speak. I pretty much said most of what I would want to say in the somewhat probably too lengthy piece that I sent you on why we're making this request to make sure the public is aware. It's become a best practice in courtrooms throughout the country to have rooms available for victim witnesses when they're waiting to testify at trial. And after perhaps their testimony has been completed and they're going to be called back maybe for later testimony, rebuttal or otherwise. It's really customary to have a space for those victim witnesses to be that's away from the eyes of people who maybe support the defendant or who maybe want to challenge what that victim witness is there to say, or just to make that person feel uncomfortable. It's a difficult position to be a witness who's a victim of a crime. When I first came a year ago now to the Cumberland County Courthouse, I can have a very clear sight line towards the pretty uncomfortable wooden benches that have been outside of those courtrooms for a long time. And I watched some interactions with victims that made me realize that we really should find a space. The county manager was really supportive right away of making that happen. We found an appropriate space right outside of my office in a former corridor next to the law court. And the county immediately agreed to support making that space manageable for the rest of the victim witness folks who need that space in order to be comfortable testifying. So that meant putting a partition up so that there's now a wall that's really cut the space just about in half. It's not a big space, as I detailed to you in my request. At the same time that space was being completed, one of the folks that I really admire for her work with victims and with legislation, Lois Galgay-Reckitt, our long-term legislator and policymaker in Maine, passed away. Lois is a personal hero of mine and so many other people in Maine. And I realized in reading about all of her many accomplishments that actually she's one of the big reasons that we have advocacy for victims in Maine, one of the big reasons that we changed statutes to protect domestic violence victims. And really, when she and I met, as we did many times before I was elected and subsequently, one of the things she spoke passionately about was the need to meet the needs of victims, to identify that prosecution was one of the ways that we do that, and her real support for the work that I do. So it seemed like the timing was somehow meant to be. I did ask her family about naming the room after Lois, and they were very much in support and kind of tickled about the idea and actually gave us some of her favorite shades of green to consider in painting the room. So we're really thrilled tonight. The room is complete, all but the painting. And we'd like to ask for the county commissioner's support to commemorate Lois's memory and to name the room after Lois Galgay-Reckitt.
So first I'd ask for a motion on this item.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Jameson, seconded by Commissioner Ratonis for passage, and it's open for discussion.
I would just a brief comment, Commissioner Cloutier. I've known Lois for many years as well. I think it's a fitting dedication for a couple of reasons. One, I'm in that court building a lot, and it makes sense to have a room for victims and victims advocates away from the public. So I certainly would strongly support that basis. And naming it after Lois is the very least we can do for all the work she did over the decades for victims and for other people who were less fortunate. Thank you.
Other comments? Commissioner Smith?
You could
You're on
take it.
mute. Need to unmute, Patty.
There we
Yep.
go. Tough new year here. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Just want to say I appreciate us coming into a best practice situation whenever we're conducting any part of the county business. It's nice to know what is the best practice in terms of current use of space and rooms and protection of folks. And so I wholeheartedly support this move. And likewise, to remember Lois in this way is so fitting. And I think about even young kids who do book reports or projects on civics, or looking to do things when they see a room or a bench or with a name on it. A lot of times, be like, who was that person? And it really, I think, honors someone past their legacy when a name is placed on a building or in a room or on a bench, so that we can continue to honor her legacy. So thank you so much for bringing this forward. I'm in full support. Thank you.
And Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, it should be recognized also that Lois at the legislature, whenever we were talking about issues within the jail or how people were conducted in that point in life, she was very considerate about individuals. My hat was always off to her. She was very, very, very kind.
Any other comments? I would just like to add, I had the honor of knowing Lois for decades. She, I'm sure many people know that she was a long-time legislator in the city of South Portland. I'm sure she went in and out of term limits more than once, and was always recognized by her constituents as a stellar, thoughtful, energetic representative. I usually have or I used to have what I used to call the 5-year rule, which said you don't name anything owned by the public after anybody until 5 years has passed from the time that they've left their position. But I violated that a couple of times, and certainly for Lois, who was in harness, so to speak, through the time of her last illness. She was truly an exemplary representative and someone who was deeply respected, not just in her community, not just in Southern Maine, not just for her work in this particular area, but widely and fully. And so I'm very glad to support this. Any other comments? In that case, we have a motion and a second. Catherine, would you call the roll, please?
Chair Cludier,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Retonis.
Yes.
And passes unanimously. Thank you, Jacqueline, for bringing this to us, and thanks to the staff for facilitating the renovations that have been needed and should be shortly completed. Thank you.
If I might, first, thank you so much for the vote. It's greatly appreciated. And we will, of course, be inviting you to our small commemoration celebration. So thank you again.
Moving on to other new business. Item 24003, something to authorize the county manager to do something. Mr. Gailey.
Thank you. Commissioners may remember last month we had before you two items that look very similar to these two items, this one and the next. It is all about the main PERS change in the union contracts relative to the dispatch employees and also the patrol employees. You may remember I made mention that this would also dribble over into the non-union employees that fall under the same in the departments. And the commissioners at the time made a motion that included not only the union members, but also the non-union members to take advantage of this change in Maine PERS plan. Unfortunately, the lawyers up at Maine PERS didn't buy into that. And they're asking us to come back to the commissioners and specifically have a motion that is written out as you have in your packets for the non-union employees within the law enforcement center, public safety side, and also, and I should make mention anyone over 20 hours who works for that department. And then the next item is the same thing, but just a different department, and that is the communications department and the non-union members within the communications department. So I've introduced both items, and if we could take each individually through a roll call vote, I think that might appease the attorneys up at Maine PERS. Thank you.
The question.
So, Commissioner Retonis.
Would this have to be a consistency of what 20 hours, or can it be up to 20 hours?
All right, it has to be a consistency of over 20 hours.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Sorry,
Okay,
couldn't get to unmute fast enough. Yes.
okay, so it doesn't when necessarily will pertain to per diem people.
Right.
Okay, that's all. Okay, yeah, well, thank you.
So, first entertain a motion, for 24003. Is there a motion for approval?
So move.
Oh,
Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Gordon, seconded by Commissioner Latonis, for approval of 24003. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll just say, since we're being asked to be quite clear that we, in fact, intended to do what we already did, it seems like it's all right to me. Catherine, could you call the roll, please?
Chair Cludier,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Matonis.
Yes.
We also have a motion, please, for item 24-004.
So
Make
move.
motion.
Moved by
Second.
Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Gordon. Any further discussion? Seeing none, again, Catherine, please call the roll.
Chair Cludier,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Matonis.
Yes.
Good. Passes unanimously. So this brings us very close to the end of our meeting, but I would ask first for the comments from county manager. Scaly.
Thank you. A few things this evening. First, over the last month, we've had a few items of worth speaking about at the Cross Insurance Arena. This past Friday, we welcomed in Montverde Prep Academy out of Florida, who played a prep school out of Washington, D.C., high school basketball. If you're not familiar, the Montverde Academy out of Florida has Cooper and Ace Flagg, who are from the Newport area, played for Nokomis High School until their sophomore year, and then moved on to Montverde. Standing room only, pretty much. It was 6,700 people in the arena. Not a seat was empty. It was just a phenomenal night, and from the beginning of the doors opening to the end, very well done by staff over at the Cross Insurance Arena, and I think everyone walked out of there very impressed, and the game was phenomenal. Also, Disney on Ice is always a tenant of the building right before Christmas. Very well attended in years past, and this year we exceeded ticket sales by 1,000 tickets over last year, and last year was a good season. So a lot of people walking through the turnstiles at the Cross Insurance Arena, and it's just going to get busier over the next 3 or 4 months at the arena. To give the commissioners an update on our process with 27 Northport, our new admin building. We are working with the designers currently. We have put out an RFQ for furniture. If we haven't done it today, we're going to do it sometime this week, and because it's very important to get that on a furniture company on board, because then we know the exact measurements of the furniture that's going to be placed within the building for the architects. You will see that bid coming forth at your February meeting. We're also working with the architects on layout, what department should be near who gets offices, who doesn't get offices, things like that. We did get some bad news the other day in regards to our structural integrity of the roof. As the commissioners know, we have been looking to put some solar arrays on top of the roof. And we do have a federal grant that we could have used for that. Unfortunately, we're going to have to shift gears and go in a different direction because it's our understanding through the architects that the structural engineers have said that the roof structure would not hold the weight of a snow load plus the structure that's needed to support solar panels. And so we're going to have to go in a different direction, unfortunately, on that. And then lastly, community corrections building, just give you an update there. It seems like forever ago we talked about this and teaming up with the state of Maine on that. We have come to kind of the finish line, but the finish line had one hiccup in it, and that was none of the showers in the building are ADA accessible. And that is a requirement for the state DOC to move in there. So we're working with the DOC right now to see whether there's a cost share that we can have to modify one of the showers to create an ADA accessible shower for the 20 plus people that they would have in the building. Right now, the prices came in around $21,000 for that shower conversion. So we're hoping to split the cost with DOC, but have not heard yet back. Other than that, that's all I have for you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? So, Mr. Kimball, any
So
information
one
we need
funny-
to hear?
Just funny shift that we're going through right now is that due to the fiscal year, right about now, this month and next month are the point in which you'd be hearing from Jim and I for mid-year budget updates, making sure there's no course corrections needed. So far through December, we don't have January in yet. We're looking right on, and that's pretty good considering we actually did this budget quite a while ago. We'll get in a little more depth when we get through December for the February meeting. Just one needs to, if you have to make changes, now is the time to do it. But so far, so good. That's all I got.
Okay. Ms. Grover, any news from finance?
We are busy for year end. We're going to be testing the software on doing the W-2s on Thursday. And then the following Thursday, we'll be hoping, if that all goes well, to process the W-2s and doing 1099 year end. The IRS did some changes with our TCC number, and I'm having some issues with that I'm ironing out. So just busy with end of year audit things, but it's going well.
Very good. Travis, interested in your activities?
Legislature's back in session. As Commissioner Gordon can tell you, he probably doesn't feel like talking about it after the day he had. They're moving. From what I've seen from reviewing legislative council agendas, they're not letting much in, and they're being pretty serious about that. They had a significant number of carryovers, and they're really being strict about what they let in and what they don't. And example today, the Rural Patrol bill, which I was monitoring from my office, the Commissioner Gordon is there. I think a difference that you see early in January when they run into an item that they're having trouble figuring out what to do with is that they table it, but that's not what they did today. So they're really working to move aggressively and spending some time thinking through what issues might affect our departments and getting in touch with those department heads individually. But I think that they're really going to aim for trying to be done in mid-April this year. So more to come. But also, of course, if you have any subjects that you want to know about specifically.
One item that got pointed out to us earlier was the kind of a kerfuffle related to the proposal for enhanced rural patrol. Am I correctly assuming that would have been of little direct interest to Cumberland County, or have we been monitoring that for some reason?
Yeah, Commissioner Gordon has been in the thick of that one. I probably defer to him to talk about what happened with it today and prospects for the future, but it's one that we've been monitoring. The version that was presented today would have had a much different impact on us than the one that existed yesterday. But it does sound like the Criminal Justice Committee decided that they didn't know what to do with it, and rather than set it aside and figure it out, they spent with it. So, Commissioner Gordon, you were present and you've been in the thick of it. If you have more nuance than that, I'd welcome it. And my observation was it was one of those curveballs that tends to result in a table, but that's not what happened this time.
I'm sorry, Travis, your voice coming.
Audio, yeah.
I didn't understand half your stuff. It sounded like you're in a tin can. But I take it we're talking something about the rural patrol.
Yeah, I think he mentioned, Commissioner, that there was a new draft of some kind and that created
Right.
a two-step shuffle and whatever else happens when you have a new draft that people don't adore in Augusta. So,
Well, there was I don't know if you want to get into it now or I'll do it. I can do it. Well, yeah, sure. Let's do it now. There was the original proposal that was brought forth was for the Maine State Police who have authorized positions unfilled for rural patrol to either fill them or contract with the appropriate county for them to supply a deputy to do that. And at the last minute, literally the last minute, I think it was last Friday, they changed the whole, or she did, Ann Graham changed the whole proposal because of lobbying, I believe, from the sheriffs and from the Maine State Police. What that one proposed was that they would go to the taxation committee and get the apportionment of the transfer fees for property increased for counties from 10% to 20%, and that additional 10% would be used to fund rural patrols. Well, then the discussion all turned towards it being a taxation issue. And in the end, they had a caucus and just threw the bill out, the whole process. So we're back to square one as far as rural patrol. Now, it doesn't affect this county because we don't have the issues with Maine State Police doing rural patrol for us, but the other counties do, and especially those that have unorganized territories. So this is an issue for them. On the other hand, I've been thinking about this, and last meeting, I believe we had a discussion about that the sheriff brought forth during our acceptance of or receiving more information about the contracts that we have with communities for his services. And it would seem to me that there are other areas that he indicated might need more patrol, but they, the communities just don't want it, but he felt it was necessary. There might be a way, should this ever revolve again, that those kind of services might be supported. With that, I'll close that discussion. I don't know, Travis, I'll toss it back to you. I don't know if you've got anything else or not.
Yeah, can you all hear me better now? I switched microphone, but I don't know if that improved or not.
No, really, sorry.
All right. No, I think you covered it, Commissioner Gordon. What I was trying to say, if you all can hear it or not, is I think it was unique that they just filled the bill rather than table it. So I think we might be seeing more sort of mercenary legislature this session than what we might have been used to in recent years.
Okay, thank you for all that. Catherine, do you have any comments for us this evening? No, okay. Well, we turn to commissioner discussion. Commissioner Witonis, do you have anything to
No,
discuss
no,
tonight?
I'm all set. I'm all set. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Smith
All set, thank you.
and Commissioner Jameson. You're on mute, Neil. I think you might have frozen up on us.
Yeah. Neil, you're frozen.
Well, Commissioner Gordon.
Well, you essentially got what I was going to talk about. There are a few other things that are beginning to percolate up there. But it was a really discouraging day because in fact, the Maine State Police were anticipated in the procedure. The sheriffs were there en masse. I mean, I think there was a rep almost from every county, and then there was then we had MCCA represented, and our lobbyist was there, Jim Cohen. So it went on for about 3 hours, and then it just absolutely got killed.
Wow. Travis, I assume we're looking for Neil to rejoin us here.
He's not showed up yet.
Well, I don't have any particular comments other than to urge everybody to be careful about the roads until the effects of the storm that happened yesterday abate a little bit on the roadways at least. So the football season for the New England Patriots is over, and that's a
Good
notable
thing.
development. Yeah, sometimes a merciful ending is an ending that is hoped for. So at this point, we have a couple of executive session issues. So what I would look for is a motion to enter executive session for the matters noted on the agenda 24005. And I'll ask Mr. Gailey if he can give me a little guidance here on, could we be authorizing an executive session on both items at this point, or do we have to do that seriatim?
I would do both executive sessions. There's actually 2 written, but there's 3 in totality. Because 2 of them's written within one motion, and then there's another motion.
So I would point the commissioners at the items on the agenda, and I'll just read them for the benefit of the public. 24005 is to enter into executive session under 1 MRSA section 405 6A for the discussion of compensation of the Cumberland County probate judge. And then 24-006 enter into executive session pursuant to 1405 6A and D to discuss the evaluation of arena management in accordance with the management agreement and update on the Portland Hockey LLC contract. That's actually 2 items, as the manager mentioned. And so I'd entertain a motion on all or each of those motions.
So move.
Is that for both?
Both for both motions.
And is there a second? Moved by Commissioner Gordon, seconded by Commissioner Witonis. And again, Catherine, would you please call the roll?
Chair Cloutier,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
He's gone.
Okay, fair enough. And Commissioner Smith.
Abby, you're on mute.
I think that was a yes.
Yeah.
If I was a lip reader.
She raised her hand.
All right, Commissioner,
Yes,
you.
thank you, sorry.
That's okay. Commissioner Rotonis?
Yes.
It carries 4-0. Note the presence of Judge Aronson. We welcome. At this time, we're going into executive session, so I'll leave it to Mr. Kennedy